That's 800. Paid for by the IPG Law Group.
Live from San Francisco on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network, you are listening to Wrestling Observer Live.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's get it on!
And we're back again. It's Jim Valley, and we are live. We're live 7 days a week, as a matter of fact. Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. And Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. The number to call, you won't, but you can. 1-800-878-PLAY. 1-800-878-7529. Jim Valley, the effing king of recovery, back because of the fans.
Each and every one of you.
That's true.
You all fat, neck-bearded, mouth-breathing trolls.
Oh, sing it, sister. It has been a week. AEW announces Collision, a brand new TV show. But we don't have an official location. Do I have to talk about this? Are you going to make me talk about... I don't know. All right, fine. I just hope no one gets mad and tries to open up old wounds about me and my love of Wendy Richter. Then there was that one time Mae Young told me she loved me, invited me back to her room, stretched me, and took my wallet. Actually, Mae Young did do that. Those things happened back in the day. Smackdown, a lot of new talent featured last night. We will talk about that, plus a very fun main event. The Usos against Rey and Santos. Superstar Billy Graham passed away. I have sort of a different take on him and his legacy. Last time I was on the air, I talked about how I believe that Roman Reigns will surpass Hulk Hogan's first WWE title reign. And if this week you watched the Hulk Hogan versus Gawker special on TV, you understand why. Coming up, we're going to talk about trust in wrestling. And when did pro wrestlers get so damn sensitive? Stand by, Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You're clear.
For prices so low, we can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rates and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets by calling right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the international.
We got Ryan on the line.
What does he want? You know?
He wants to talk about the new belt.
Oh, sure. All right.
And I was like, I didn't say this to him, but I was like, oh, like he was like the new championship. And I was like, oh, like the actual belt? He was like, yeah. And then I put him on hold and I was like, well, Jim will be happy. It's just not CM Punk.
I know, I'm just so tired of this.
No, I agree.
God, it's like this dude, you think he's like a major star. And he's a star, but he's not like a major star.
It's not like The Rock, you know, or like Stone Cold.
Yeah. No, he's not that level, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the media landscape, the way it's so fragmented.
I mean, I would say he's below, both of the two I named, obviously, he's below Cena probably still. Trying to think who else. And then, I mean, I would even say he's still under Lesnar.
Sure.
You know, like, and I don't know, as a wrestling, kind of a casual wrestling fan, like I would even probably rather watch like Rey Mysterio than him.
Yeah. Rey's great. Rey is great.
Yeah. Hey, whatever happened to Sin Cara, by the way?
He just flamed out. He's in Mexico.
Okay, he's back in Mexico.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a star in Mexico, but I mean.
Yeah, totally. And
but it's not the same.
Dude, those shows are so fun to watch.
If you ever get a chance to go to Mexico City, go to Arena Mexico. Super fun. Okay. Super fun.
Yeah, I think at some point that would actually be a fun trip. Go down there, watch the Luchadors, and then go watch the Formula One in Mexico City.
Mexico City is a great city. It is really fun. Mexico City is a blast. I loved it.
I just love Mexico in general, the whole vibe and everything. All right, here, we're about to come back.
All right, thanks.
53. That's 800-943-2153.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, back again live. I want to say congratulations to Dustin Rhodes. He tweeted that he's 15 years sober today. And if you saw him years ago at the end of his WWE run and WCW and in TNA, especially in TNA when he was Black Rain or when he'd be on camera slurring his words. He was just a mess. It was really sad. And he was on his way to being a wrestling tragedy. And 15 years sober is an incredible accomplishment. And now he's a grandfather, and he's a trainer, and one of the most respected people in wrestling. So sincere congratulations to Dustin Rhodes. Let's go to the phone lines, 1-800-878-PLAY. That's where we find Ryan in Cumberland. Ryan, what's up?
I have a question on this AJ Styles Seth Rollins match. Do you believe with them bringing up that Seth's out in Hollywood filming movies increases AJ's chances of winning the title, since they said this champion is going to be a fighting champion and defend the title frequently? And also, do you see Finn Balor being the first in line for a title shot, even though it's Seth Rollins against Finn Balor on the house shows? They could easily switch that to AJ and Finn Balor, because supposedly AJ would go to the Raw brand then if that would happen.
Thanks for the call, Ryan. I appreciate it. I don't think the movie makes that big of a difference. I don't think it's like a major part. It's not like he's playing Thanos or like the major villain in the movie. I think it's just it's a good cameo, I'm sure. But, it's just a few weeks filming. I don't know if Seth Rollins has many more Hollywood aspirations. That could happen. But it's just a championship. I think obviously they are trying to position this title as the workers' title, the people's title that is defended often. And they put on great matches, and wrestlers are going to wrestle for this wrestling championship. I think Roman Reigns, they're going to make him very rare. And they're going to make him a villain that he's not defending his title, even though it's the company. Anyway, so they're going to build up this people's championship, this people's choice. So it wouldn't surprise me if Finn Balor would be the first person, because then you'd have two wrestlers wrestling for a wrestling championship. At least that's what I think. And if you saw Smackdown, it seemed to focus on the new and the old last night. Just very quickly, a Pretty Deadly debuted from NXT, and they beat the Brawling Brutes. Alba Fire, Isla Dawn won a squash match. It was also announced that Liv Morgan is injured, and she and Raquel have vacated the tag titles. Hang on a second. My memory, it's not so good, but wasn't it like 2 weeks ago, the last women's tag team champions, one of them got injured and the other one just got to pick a new partner? Did I miss that from like 3 weeks ago. I'll tell you what, those tag team titles are cursed. They must have made those over like a Native American burial ground or something. Those tag titles, man, stay away from those women's tag titles. It's going to be a fatal four-way in a couple of weeks on Raw to determine new women's tag team champions. Austin Theory did a standalone interview in the ring, interrupted by Sheamus, left Theory laying and walked off. So they're going to fight for the Intercontinental, or for the U.S. title, I should say. Grayson Waller debuted with his Grayson Waller Effect talk show, brought out AJ Styles, and he ribbed AJ Styles about losing to Seth freaking Rollins. They kind of had a stare off at the end. They also kind of hinted that maybe AJ's going to be spinning off to some other feuds. So I'm not sure he's going to be winning the title. They also recapped Cameron Grimes beating Baron Corbin. And Asuka, is she a heel now? Is it official? She tapped Zelina, and then she wouldn't release it until Bianca made the save. And Asuka sprayed the mist, but it just kind of splattered a little bit on Bianca's face. Didn't really do any damage. I'm very confused about this. Asuka's got the same hair, the same makeup. She's spitting mist, just like WrestleMania, and she lost at WrestleMania. But now she's a heel. I don't see the big differences with Asuka. She seems like just still Asuka. LA Knight brought out a new tag team partner, Rick Boogs. They lost to the Street Profits. LA Knight left Boogs laying. Maybe there's a feud there, I don't know. And the show opened with a Bloodline segment. KO and Sammy confronted Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. And then the Usos attacked KO and Sammy, and the Usos thought they were doing a good thing. And instead, Roman was mad because they went rogue on their own. He apparently said he had a plan, and they, the Usos, ruined it. And then the main event, fun main event, Rey and Santos Escobar defeated the Usos thanks to interference from Kevin and Sammy. Just a really, really fun match. And then they taped another episode of Smackdown last night in Colombia, because next Saturday they're going to be in Saudi Arabia for Night of Champions. Very quickly, I'm not spoiling very much, so don't. If you don't like spoilers, don't worry about it. Austin Theory defeated Sheamus to retain the U.S. title. Raquel Rodriguez and her partner, Shotzi, defeated Bayley and Io Sky. Cameron Grimes defeated Ashante the Adonis. And after the match, Baron Corbin attacked Grimes. Bianca Belair cut an in-ring promo. Asuka's music hit. Asuka attacked Belair from behind. And Belair apparently eventually got the upper hand on Asuka. LA Knight defeated Rick Boogs. Street Profits, I guess, were on commentary. And after the match, LA Knight called out the Street Profits. AJ Styles defeated Karrion and Cross. Mia Yim prevented Scarlett from interfering in the match. And then the main event segment was the KO show with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Teams ended up getting into a brawl. Bloodline got the upper hand. The show ended with Reigns, Solo, and Jey Uso standing tall. Rampage preempted last night. I like the earlier time for Rampage, personally. Blackpool Combat Club of Claudio, Wheeler, and Mox defeated the Best Amigos, Trent, Chuck, and Bandito. Jade Cargill defeated two women easily. She's now 59-0. She asked to make it 60-0, but instead, Taya Valkyrie came out, laid her out, and challenged her for double or nothing. The Acclaimed and Daddy Ass beat the Varsity Athletes, and Dustin Rhodes beat Bishop Khan with Prince Nana. And then after the match, Brian Cage attacks Dustin. As Swerve was in the ring, he sort of watched on because they're the Mogul Embassy. And Keith Lee made the save. Everybody jumped on Keith Lee. And then the Mogul Embassy put Lee in a chair, and Swerve did a stomp onto Lee from the top rope, driving Lee's head into the mat. So the feud continues with the Moguls and Keith Lee. You know, I was thinking about Jade Cargill, and I hope that Jade loses at Wembley Stadium. That would be a big deal, right? They've been building her up for something. Why not just have her lose at Wembley Stadium? Hey, speaking of losing, AEW Collision. We'll talk about that and more coming up next. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You're clear. So yeah, I'm using the Tittles bumps Tittles bumps just to see if let me know if that
I will.
Yeah, and if it works, then I can just use those from now on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
This publishing services company. Countless authors have trusted.
Yeah, because they're timed the same. They're 30 seconds always, just like the WOL bump outs. So
Sure.
And there's enough of those for a 3-hour show, so I can just rotate through them.
Sounds good.
Although I'm gonna try to stay away from. I think there's a Mr. Big Stuff and Somebody's Watching Me. Although I don't know if there's words on them. They might just, but yeah, I'll try to stay away from like the ones that are like kind of well known or whatever, just
Sure.
in case.
Right.
Yep.
Just play me so horny.
And also, what the fuck, Ryan? That had nothing to do with the championship belt.
Oh well.
Not that it was a terrible question or anything, but
It's
just
fine.
and again, at least it wasn't CM Punk. But
Right.
why wouldn't you just tell me that's what you? Why don't you just tell me? It's like the Seinfeld. You've selected Brown Eyed Girl. Why don't you just tell me the name of the movie you've selected? Are you a Seinfeld person or no?
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
Mr. Movie Phone.
Movie phone. He's like one digit off or whatever.
You don't need to lose your home to foreclosure. If you have any equity in your home, we will buy it and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call Quick Cash Offer now before the economy gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just don't want to get the cash you need today.
800-788-1495. 800-788-1495. 800-788-1495. That's 800-788-1495. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're going to love it, and you're going to love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-617-5145. 800-617-5145. 800-617-5145. That's 800-617-5145.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
It's Jim Valley back again, live this week. Wrestling Observer Live. And AEW Fight Forever, the video game. It's got a release date. Apparently, according to Fightful Select, the game is scheduled to be released June 27th. Fightful said it heard from several retailers that told the game would be released late in June. And additionally, Fightful reported that the official announcement regarding the game's release date would be coming over the next week. And Some people have criticized the game's graphics. And for me personally, I don't have a problem with the graphics. I hope that it means that the game can be played on the Nintendo Switch, is what I hope. If you remember, WWE, was it 2K20, I'm pretty sure, was an unplayable mess on the Switch. And I would love a deep, portable, licensed wrestling game. Have you been playing Zelda? I've been playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom this week. It's pretty fun. Some of it, though, is a little too familiar at times. It's not quite as different as I was hoping, but I'm enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. But hopefully, Fight Forever, AEW Fight Forever, will be the game that gamers wanted. Kenny, he's a gamer. He's been working on it. And hopefully it works. Someone in the YouTube chat says the engine more important than graphics, for sure. So I hope so. I hope the engine is fun. I just want it to be fun to play. So we'll see what happens there. And speaking of what happens, but apparently getting your own cable show isn't enough. AEW Collision announced for Saturday, June 17th, day after my birthday, by the way. And look, we don't know where it will take place. We also don't know if CM Punk will be a part of it. You know what's up. Every show has talked about this. Everybody, I don't even want to talk about this. Anyway, there's part of me that's wondering what executives at Warner Brothers Discovery must think. They had to make a bunch of last-minute redactions because of a wrestler. A wrestler. Not The Rock. Not John Cena. CM Punk. And Punk is a star. He's got a fan base. He's a star, but I wouldn't say he's at the highest level. He can add 100,000 or more eyes to a show or buys to a pay-per-view. But it's not like he's at the very top level. But he's definitely a star. I take nothing away from him. But on the other hand, executives at Warner Brothers Discovery have had to deal with Ezra Miller, the star of The Flash, with his erratic, inappropriate behavior over the last several months. And The Flash is like a $300 million summer blockbuster. Eating a few press releases about a cable show seems mild by comparison. When you get hired, your boss needs to trust you. No matter what the job is. If you handle money, they need to trust you handling money. Or public facing with customers. They need to just know that you'll do your job and do it to the best of your ability. True story. I once got a job because somebody drove a radio station vehicle drunk. And obviously CM Punk is straight edge. He's sober. So my point is that you never know what can happen. And you have to be able to trust. You have to trust your boss, and your boss has to trust you. And seriously, how can you trust CM Punk? Not that he's dishonest. I'm not suggesting that. But I'm saying AEW gave him his own show. Surrounded him with many of his friends and supporters on said show. AEW hired back his friend who bit one of the biggest stars in wrestling. And apparently, that's not good enough. If CM Punk is willing to walk away and embarrass the company, Warner Brothers Discovery and Tony Khan at the last minute. I personally think it's inevitable that this relationship won't end well. And I've talked about it before. WWE spends a lot of time and money marketing wrestlers. Being on TV is like a commercial for you. And they expect the talent to live up to its end of the bargain. Very famous story. 1988, Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Iron Sheik pulled over on the Jersey Turnpike. They found booze and illicit items in the vehicle. And it was a big scandal. Not just because of the driving impaired and the drugs in the vehicle, but also because Duggan and Sheik were feuding at the time. They're supposed to be mortal enemies. And in his book, Duggan says Vince called him and said, "Jim, what have you done to me?" And in his book, Hacksaw Jim Duggan says he believes that he would have been a WWE World Champion if not for that incident. And I can't say either way. But my point is that I'm sure, I think Duggan is sure too, that Vince never fully trusted Duggan again. And with Punk, again, he's straight edge, not suggesting that he's dishonest, but how do you know that he's not just going to explode and embarrass the company again? You don't. And what about Ace Steel throwing a chair at Nick Jackson and biting Kenny Omega? You know, I'm a passionate person. And sometimes I get passionate and people sometimes misconstrue that passion. I've never hit anybody in my life and I never would. And I always, whenever people feel threatened, I always make sure to try to dial it back. But my point is that if I just talk to people, and sometimes that happens to me, how will other people feel around someone who throws a chair or bites people? I get it, walking into a room can be threatening. People don't like confrontation. Maybe you shove, maybe you throw a punch, but throwing a chair and biting, I think, are kind of a different level. Do you remember a few years ago, Steve Austin spent some time backstage in WWE, and he talked about it on his podcast, how wrestlers were backstage walking on eggshells. They were afraid to speak up. And people were up in arms. Oh my gosh, wrestlers need freedom. They need to be able to speak up. They need to do this. They need to do that. And do you see what happens when you go too far towards giving the wrestlers too much? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Wrestlers are gonna wrestle. AEW Collision is penciled in to debut in Chicago. And if Punk falls through, Daly's place is the backup. I don't know about you, but nothing says important like debuting a show in front of 1,000 people in Jacksonville. Not exactly the first Nitro at the Mall of America. You know, months ago, before the whole scrum thing, I asked the question if Punk was done, if fans were over CM Punk. And the next week, scrum backstage fight. And for the last, what has it been, 9 months? Punk has been gone. Fans have tried to chant CM Punk at events. Every one of them shut down by other fans. Is Punk valuable? Sure, he can be. But is he worth the trouble? Can you trust him to stick around and not just explode again and walk off? I don't know that you can. We saw what happened to AEW's momentum after the whole scrum thing. And people are just now coming around. And it's hurt Tony Khan. It's hurt his image as a leader. People think he's incompetent. And also, have you seen him? Did you know that he hugs people? Can you believe that? Hugging people. But here's my question when we come back. When did wrestlers get so damn sensitive? I'll talk about it next. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live.
You're clear. Also, I put it in the Skype, but you have a caller.
Oh.
You have a caller. It's Philip from Simi Valley. He wanted to talk about Billy Graham.
Okay, sweet. We'll do that.
Yep. All right, cool.
Thanks.
Is more than 5 hours of television. Really? And that's not counting mobile viewing. Get Dish TV and make that time worth it. With Dish, you can get hundreds of channels, access to all kinds of sports, tons of movies, premium channels, and more. Another thing that's really cool with Dish is you can watch most of your favorite shows on your mobile device anywhere for a lot less than cable. Yes, that's right. We are asking you to watch more TV and not less TV, but make it better television with Dish this time, anytime, anywhere. So call right now and learn how easy it is to save on your television bill and get the most out of your TV viewing experience. Dial that number and I promise you we're here waiting for your call because we want to save you money and give you better television. We are Dish TV.
800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. 800-293-0328. That's 800-293-0328.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. That's 800-949-0039. Paid for by the Tax Helpline.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Stand by. Philip will get to you in just 1 second. But before we get there, when did wrestlers get to be so sensitive? They used to be men, and now some of them are women. I'm kidding. But no, they were manly men. They ran the roads. They had a six-pack, and now they all play video games in the back. Again, kidding. But seriously, it's a trend. The Fiend walked out, made a bunch of demands, including hiring his friends and his brother, and that's fine. There's a long history of that. Ronda Rousey pretty much cocooned after losing to Holly Holm in UFC. Sasha Banks and Naomi, not happy as tag team champions. They walked. Wrestlers used to do it for the money. People like Shawn Michaels paved the way for wrestling fans in the wrestling business. And speaking of walking out, Mr. Lost My Smile pioneered not only fans becoming wrestlers, but wrestlers who have dreams and want career fulfillment and will walk if it doesn't happen. Wrestlers. Why do you get to be happy? You make a lot of money. The schedule is better today, more family, more quality of life. There are movie and other media opportunities. And you're telling me that on top of all of that, you need to be happy too. Look around, the rest of us aren't happy. Do I look happy? People in the YouTube chat, they're not happy. Why do you get to have it all? Okay, I'm joking again, but I think the walkouts over career fulfillment are here to stay. And if Tony Khan can work something out with CM Punk and he appears on Collision, more power to him. But personally, even with best intentions from all parties concerned, I don't see how this relationship has a happy ending. Let's go to the phone line at 1-800-878-PLAY. It's where we find Philip in Simi Valley. Philip, you want to talk about the late superstar Billy Graham?
Yeah, I just really wanted to call in and talk about this. That one kind of hit me pretty hard myself because I met him a couple times back in 2011 and 2012. And at the time, the girlfriend I was with, she had a really bad medical condition where she needed crutches to walk around. And he noticed this and was very respectful and courteous to her, and there was a point where we couldn't find a place to sit down, stuff like that. So by his table, he put a chair right by her and stuff like that, and just was taking care of her and just making sure she was okay through everything there. And then he gave her some cookies and stuff like that. They had a really good conversation, and I really did appreciate that. And then a year later, I decided not going to the same convention with her, and she wasn't interested at first. And then I find out the week before that Billy Graham's going to be there, and then she says, "Oh, I'm going now." Then we see him there again, and he remembered who she was, and they had another good conversation, and they just really, it really touched me so much that he remembered her, and I felt like they became really good friends. I don't know if they saw each other again after that, but I just really appreciated of how he treated her. And I know he said a lot of different controversial things over the years and stuff like that, but I never forgot how he treated her and how a good person he really was.
Oh, that's very nice. Where was the initial meeting? Where was the first event?
It was at one of the wrestling reunion conventions in 2011 in California.
Gotcha. That's very nice. Well, that's cool. That's a great memory. I appreciate. Now, did you see superstar Billy Graham wrestle?
No, that was before my time. I was born in '86, so he was pretty much getting in about the end of his career.
Yeah, no,
he wasn't old enough to really see any of that.
He was done. Well, I appreciate the call, Phil. That's very, very nice memory. I started watching wrestling around 1978, I think. And, we didn't have cable. So I never saw WWF champion Billy Graham in his prime. I did see him in the magazines. And Sean Waltman, he and I are about the same age. And he tweeted a picture of Billy Graham in his karate gimmick, saying that was the Graham he grew up watching in Florida. And I remember seeing pictures of that gimmick in the Western magazines when Billy returned to WWE around 1982. And, you know, in the magazines, the karate gimmick I thought looked cool. But those were pictures. What the pictures couldn't show you was that he was very lethargic in the ring. Promos were kind of drug-addled. Just not a great thing. You know, a lot of people, one of those wrestling rumors that he died years ago. You know, a lot of people didn't think that was the real superstar Billy Graham. And, you know, according to Bob Backlund's book, when Billy Graham came back in '82, Northeast promoters weren't thrilled with the new Billy Graham. And Backlund says they booked Buddy Rose for rematches against Bob rather than karate Billy Graham. At least that's what Bob Backlund wrote. I always kind of look at it this way. If you see Billy Graham with hair, he's great. If he's bald, he's pretty much washed out. You know, it's funny. Graham was influential. There's no question about that. But I mean, his peak was really brief. And after that, you know, he really didn't mean anything. It's like he was influential and then he wasn't. I mean, if you see pictures, you know, he lost the title and then he kind of bummed around. Like you'll see him like in Houston and he's bald. He's got a gray beard, very chunky. And it's not great. It's just fascinating how someone can, again, be so influential and do, and inspire many things, many trends, many people, but then they're just done. You know, my age, you know, I can look at the charts or see what's on TV or iTunes, and I know who's popular. What I don't know is if someone's a has-been or they're just not producing music. It's like, has the public turned on them or not? I never really know. But I mean, you see him in Crockett, you know, in '86 when I was a kid, wearing tie-dye. And I just thought it was an old look. You know, tie-dye was kind of the 1960s. And I personally thought, you know, his interviews were kind of cliche. I mean, everyone said the Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour. And it's funny how Muhammad Ali watched wrestling and got his rep from wrestling. And then wrestlers like Billy Graham copied Muhammad Ali for their wrestling rep. And it kind of came full circle. And yes, Billy Graham popularized the bodybuilder look, but wrestling doesn't exist in a vacuum. And there were bodybuilders all over TV in the 70s. Arnold, Franco Columbu, Frank Zane, you know, and they were on, you know, Saturday Wide World of Sports and World Strongest Man competitions. You know, Vince McMahon still had a bodybuilding fetish, and wrestlers took things from pop culture. Graham did it, deserves credit for sure. But I believe someone else would have done it, if not for Graham, because you turn on TV and see the bodybuilders. And, you know, it was kind of their era with these competitions. But it's just fascinating how you're just this comet. It's like Billy Graham caught lightning in a bottle and then never figured it out again. Was it luck the first time? Or did the world just change? It was almost like disco. In the late 70s, disco was everywhere. And then everybody hated disco. And it was done. And it was over. They just flipped the switch. That's the way fads go sometimes. And it's for someone as influential as Billy Graham is and was. It's just fascinating to see, you know, if you watch his documentary or read his book, just how small of a window his peak was. Could he have done more? Oh, of course he could have. But it just didn't work out that way. could he have done? Why didn't he put it together again? I don't know. Was his body just too broken down? Did he? I don't know. Sometimes, just like with pop culture, with a popular band, not everybody gets to be Beyonce and last forever. Sometimes you just have a few years. You go on the 80s cruise and you see people who just lasted a few years. Sheena Easton was an artist in the 80s. Tons of hits. And people never really talk about her now. And she's very blunt and very funny. If you see her in concert, when she wraps up, she's like, well, I didn't have any more hits. You guys didn't buy any more of my albums. Same thing I saw on the 80s cruise. It was very funny. Johnny Hates Jazz. And they had one hit in the US with Shattered Dreams. Big in the UK. Anyway, the lead singer is like, well, we've got 45 minutes for that one song. He goes, well, this song was a hit in Europe, but not for you Americans. And he's like ribbing us that we didn't like any of his other songs. It was very funny, but that's just kind of the way it is sometimes. Sometimes the audience is fascinated by you for a moment and then never again. But with Billy Graham, it's like everything seemed old. As a kid growing up, I saw the blonde superstar. He looked cool, but then he lost all of his hair, so he can't really do the same gimmick. I thought the karate thing looked cooler than tie-dye. Because like I said, I associated tie-dye with like Woodstock. And he came out to Jesus Christ Superstar. So yeah, same idea. I just thought it was old. And then he got old, which happens to all of us. But it's very nice to hear that he was nice to Philip and his family. That's very sweet. And that's nice when wrestlers can take time out and acknowledge the fans and show kindness and remember names and things like that. It's a very, very, very nice thing. I remember Cauliflower Alley. They do a wrestling show and a lot of young talents on the show. And it wasn't a very good show. And superstar Billy Graham got on the mic and said, this is the best show I've ever seen. Very nice of him. Rest in peace, superstar Billy Graham. Wrestling Observer Live.
You're clear.
If you're moving to another state, you're getting a fresh start in a brand new town. And when you choose a moving company to help get your valuable possessions to that new home of yours, you want somebody that's going to take care of your things like you would. That's why you need to call Colonial Van Lines. They're America's #1 moving company for a reason. Because they'll take care of your things like they would their possessions. They'll use caution so nothing gets damaged. And they won't treat you like a number, they'll treat you like a friend. And when you call now on a qualified move across state lines, they'll give you a $250 discount. Move your things the right way. Call Colonial Van Lines now for a free quote.
Call now to learn more about this special $250 long-distance move discount. 800-847-0225. 800-847-0225. 800-847-0225. That's 800-847-0225.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so, Annuity General would like you to have this free book to learn the pitfalls and mistakes of buying an annuity. The Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers contains the little-known truths about annuities, like how to help reduce your fees and increase retirement income. And it's free. That's right, free. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report just for calling. We researched over 1,000 annuities and summarized rates and benefits from financially strong insurers. You get Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today. Hurry, supplies are limited. Call now,
800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. 800-760-1845. That's 800-760-1845.
I don't even recognize myself anymore.
I'm really worried about him. His addiction. I haven't seen him like this. Ever.
Hey, look, I never wanted to start using. I knew the drill, but I was out of options.
I just want to tell him it's not your fault. There are people out there who can help. People who have felt your pain. They know what you're going through.
This has to stop. I'm losing everything. Everyone.
You've been strong your whole life. You can do this, but you have to reach out for help.
It's time. I can do this.
Addiction is a disease, and diseases need treatment.
Call Quit Drugs 321 now at 800-378-3508. 800-378-3508. That's 800-378-3508. Paid for by the Detox and Treatment Helpline.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
It's Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Somebody in my YouTube chat at YouTube, Jim Valley, go there and be sure to subscribe. Someone says, I met him maybe 1989, age 13 at the Dallas airport, talking about superstar Billy Graham. And he goes, this was during his comeback montage era, really past his prime, but I was really too young to know his previous work. That would have been 1986, says the wrestling nerd, Jim Valley. But it goes on to say, he was super nice to me, but I'm sure whatever came out of his mouth that day was just totally interesting. I'm sure that, if you're in the public eye for as long as superstar Billy Graham was, I'm sure he's very good with everybody. So rest in peace, superstar Billy Graham. Hey, before I wrap up, I want to say a special happy birthday to my friend and wrestling fan, David Anderson, one of the nicest guys I know. And, I have met so many great people through wrestling. David, Adrian Rohr, Bradley Craig, Bob Keller, Scott Fishman, so many more. Mel, so many people. Wrestling fans get a lot of grief, but I have had the best experiences becoming better friends with my fellow wrestling fans. Yeah, we do have Resurgence tomorrow, Double or Nothing, and Dominion next weekend. So much wrestling. There used to be no wrestling on Saturdays. Maybe the occasional Ring of Honor. And now everybody has come to Saturdays. But remember, I was here first. Your pal Jim. So be sure to tweet me at Jim Valley. And I'll be back. I should be back next week. And Resurgence should be interesting. It's going to be very curious to see what happens with Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale. Also, just some other great matches, I think, in general on the show. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on the Resurgence. Hope you enjoy that. And again, we'll talk to you next week. As always, Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. I'll be back because of the fans.
All right, Jim, have a good week. Let me know about the YouTube too, okay?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, man.
Have a good week. I'll talk to you next Saturday.
I appreciate it. Bye.
All right.
There we go. Done and done. Okay. There we go. All righty. How is everybody? How's everybody in the YouTube chat? So much wrestling. So much wrestling. Oh, you're welcome for the show. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. I know that I don't really have news. I'm just kind of the monologue show. So I figure everyone else is either news or two guys talking back and forth. And I don't want to do that. So I decided to do something different. So I did a monologue. I do the monologue show. Anything else exciting? There is too much wrestling. Too much wrestling. I worry about that. worry about too much wrestling that people are just going to turn it off. Is anybody watching Impact? I've been watching Impact because of Naomi. That's kind of good. She looks great. Oh, no. Oh, that'd be fun. That's awesome. Looks like someone's going to... Milan's going to Resurgence. That should be... It looks like a great show. Looks like a great show. I think Resurgence can be good. I mean, to see that much talent and that many good matches in that small of a setting, I think it should be good. So. Yeah, I don't know what happened. You know, I was thinking about Naomi because I've been, remember, like before the women's revolution, she was like the it girl. She was the women's champion. She was going into WrestleMania, and then she got injured. And she never really reached that level of excitement again. Even when they put the title on her, the next WrestleMania, it was like, there was that moment, that lightning in a bottle. And then I mean, she's been around. I think people forget that, you know, she kind of predates. I think people see her sort of as like Sasha's little buddy, and she predates Sasha. You know, she was kind of a star, you know, I think before Sasha. So. Also, WWE stock dropped. They're thinking that Fox may not renew at the rate they want. So that's interesting. So, alrighty. Anything else exciting? Anything else exciting, people? Oops. Everything is like a niche market now. Everything is a niche market now. Everything is super serving. Oh, that's crazy. Who Night of Champions? Yeah, but what time is Night of Champions? Is it on in like in the afternoon here? Isn't it on like in the middle of the day? It's night there, isn't it? Like afternoon of Champions here. I think. I'm pretty sure. The whole color.
Are you ready? Let's get it on!
All right, Sherman. All right.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Internet.
Rust in wrestling. And when did pro wrestlers get so damn sensitive? Stand by, Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. All right, Sherman. Oops. Anything else going on? Happy birthday, by the way. Brunch of Champions. That's funny. Yeah, you know, I mean, all the issues about Saudi Arabia aside, I do like the midday shows.
You are listening.
I like to get it done.
Broadcasting Network.
I like the midday shows. I like the convenience. Shallow, awful person. Wrestling Observer Live. If Sami Zayn is there, and they're less of a bad person. They ran the roads.
You are listening to Wrestling Observer Live on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
A caller. You have a call.
Can you believe that? But here's my question. When we come back. When did wrestlers get so damn sensitive? We'll talk about it next. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Valley, Wrestling Observer.
You're listening to Byline Broadcasting.
Wrestling Observer Live. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. There we go. All right. That's not. See if that works. I don't know. Oh, heavens. Anything else? I play weird tricks. It's because I'm editing the show. They have I got the basic Zelda. I just got the basic one. I just got the basic Zelda. Are you playing it? Do they have Dave and Buster's? Is it? Do they show the pay-per-views? They show AEW, not just WWE. I don't think that's a good question. Sure seems like we are. I think we're gonna get Swerve and Keith Lee. It sure seems like that. Breath of the Wild is awesome. Tears of the Kingdom, I like it, but I'm having trouble. Trouble, that's the wrong word. I'm how do I say this? I am it feels, parts of it feel like it's an expansion pack for Breath of the Wild, I guess is what I'm saying. What is the date today? The 21st now. Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. It's awesome. Virtual Pro Wrestling is awesome. Do you have did I put it over here? Is it still here? I had it here. No, I don't. Anyway, New Japan Pro Wrestling 2 for the Nintendo 64 is super fun. Super fun. I'm a big fan. The engine for that game is awesome. I need to play that again. I haven't played that in a while. That is a super fun game. Toko Restu Den, whatever it's called. Tokan Restu Den. New Japan Pro Wrestling 2. Nintendo 64. It's awesome. It's got a totally unique engine. An engine like no other. And it's really cool. Oh, heavens. What am I doing? I don't know. What do I want to say? I don't know. I don't know what I'm writing. That was my show about. I don't even know today. I don't even know. All right, get back to work. You know, they're gonna start charging for Peacock, which is annoying. They're gonna start charging. It's stupid. Oh well. Such makes Trinity. It's a trend of modern pro wrestlers. So sensitive. All right, kids. Well, I got nothing. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I know we need to do more Stardom. I guess we're in trouble with Stardom. Oh, well. Anyway, I love you guys. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you like the Stardom thing. Thank you. I know we do need to do some on Rossi's career. Okay. I'll talk to Fumi. I'll see what he has to say. All right, guys. Talk to you later.